Today is June the 6th, 2008. My name is Evelyn Martin, and I've been asked to do the history of the Portuguese in South San Francisco. I'd like to start by saying that originally 11 families came from São Miguel, the Azores in Portugal, to come and live in South San Francisco. They were the Gaspers, the Costas, the Silveras, the Martins, the Barbosas, and they all lived within the same area between commercial and railroad. Now, the Portuguese were very instrumental in building the city of South San Francisco. If you ask me the question how, I will tell you. It was because of the fiesta in South San Francisco. That is called the Santo Cristo Fiesta, and we are celebrating our 95th anniversary this year. They originally had their meetings at their homes. My father and mother had their meeting at our house. The Diaz family had it at their house. The Castro family had it at their house to start the organization. And how did it begin? There was a Portuguese lodge in Oakland, and a fellow by the name of Mr. Motts used to come and talk to us and say, please have a Santo Cristo fiesta in your town, which was a very good idea because it was the only way that the Portuguese could get together. So 11 families came from the Azores, as I mentioned, and they started saving their money, and they started collecting money to have the fiesta, which meant a three-day celebration every year. The idea is that they return everything in the year to God on the 3 days. So as a result, you have the Mass, you have the free barbecue or lunch, and you have the dance, and the Portuguese are very good in uniting the town. They were also responsible for the first the organs in South San Francisco. And in those days, it was wonderful to see the parades because all the businesses helped them. For instance, the Lotzi family had the Ford agency, and they would lend one of their cars to march, or drive, or I should say, be in the parade. And the first president of the Santo Cristo Society was Mr. Manuel Ledo, and he lived in a little home next to where Magnolia School is today. But there was an empty lot between the school and his house, so he was our first president. And 3 days every year we get together. This year in Portugal, in April 26, 27 of the fiesta. All the Portuguese come from California. They come from Gastine, Santa Clara, San Jose, Half Moon Bay. How did the Portuguese get started in California? History tells us that the whalers were invited to come to kill the whales that were dominating the Pacific Ocean, especially near San Diego. And Portugal is world famous for the harpoonists. And they have a whale station right there in San Miguel, and they asked for the men to come. So a group of men came to help California, and as a result, they eliminated the whales by killing them. Some of them went to Hawaii on the return home and jumped ship. The true Hawaiian is really a Portuguese ancestry. A lot of them went to Half Moon Bay, and they stayed in Half Moon Bay, and as a result, we have the Portuguese migrating and staying in California. Now, the fiesta is very well known because it's a history, or it's historical event. Now, Also's church was the first church to have the Santo Cristo statue. Father Delahanty and Father Moran were involved in allowing them, and Monsignor Tozzi was also involved. And at one time, we had a little section off the church, All Souls. Now, All Souls had a big fire in 1964, and the only statue that was saved was the Santa Cristo statue. But they had a little altar especially for the statue, and my mother and I would go on Saturdays to clean the altar. Now, Monsignor decided to put a gate, and the Portuguese got very mad at that because we had to pray outside the gate, an iron gate, and the reason for that was that the people were going into church and stealing the money.